And let me share. I put together some slides. I typically just kind of walk you through the syllabus, but I was like, I don't think I ever cover everything I need to cover. So I put together some slides for us today. Hold please. Okay. So welcome to class. So Practicum I, it's intervention for younger students. So these are, Practicum I is elementary age students. Practicum II and III are those older students, so from grade 4 through 12. So Practicum I is the younger students that you will provide intervention for, just so you know. My email and cell number, I give out my cell number just because sometimes if you, I don't know what y'all's hours are, but if you end up providing intervention during the day or even in the afternoon, you may have a question that pops up. There are some times during the day where I can answer a text, even though I do work full time. And that's really the fastest way to get a hold of me. So if you have a question, text me. What I do ask when you text me, my cell number is on Blackboard also, and on the syllabus. I try to give it to you in a bunch of different ways. So if you don't, write it down here and I'll post these slides for you also. But when you text me, let me know first your name, so I know who I'm responding back to. And then which section of practicum you're in. I mean, I'll eventually figure out which one you're in because I'll look in the class, but which section you're in. And then ask me your question. But please let me know your name because I don't have y'all in my phone. So I don't have office hours decided because I do them via Zoom. I typically do office hours once a week for an hour via Zoom. Last semester I did this and it worked out really well. There's a Google form here and I'll post it again on Blackboard. Here, I'm gonna actually share this for you in the chat. But I ask you to fill out this form because you have a couple of choices to pick, and then I go with whatever is the most popular because it worked really well last semester. I had more people attend office hours that way because it seemed to be that they chose the most convenient time for them. And again, I'm always willing to schedule a time with any of you if there's something that comes up. If you need to meet via Zoom or if you need to meet on a phone call. But I do try to be available at least once a week for an hour on Zoom. So y'all know that I am there for you during that hour. And because it's the same class this semester, I'm just making it an open hour for both classes because there's only 14 of you. So, and it's the same topic for both of you. So I figured it would be easier to do it all at the same time. But again, that Google form is on Blackboard, but I wanted to share it tonight for you. So, see what else can I tell you about myself? This is my 10th year in education. I stayed home with my kids for a really long time because we were a military family. So, and I did something else before. So I've transitioned into education, mainly because my kids struggled. So, so that's kind of my story. Oh, I forgot to change that. I have links here for a syllabus assignment due chart, and on Blackboard, we have the Literacy and Dyslexia Program Handbook. I'm not going to open that tonight, but I wanted to point that out to you. It is on the Blackboard for you. If you have a question about anything about the program, the handbook is linked on Blackboard. I will come back to the due date chart in a minute. The information in the syllabus, we're going to run through some of it now, and then we can come back to the main syllabus. So I wanted to pull up some of this is all just pulled out of the syllabus. So the course description, I'm not going to read it verbatim for you, but basically it's preparing you to diagnose and provide intervention for struggling readers. Okay. So, and because we are endorsed through the International Dyslexia Association, we do follow their criteria. Some of you, and I was looking to see if some of you, I believe one of you that emailed me earlier are on with us. There are certain criteria to follow based on lesson plans and some of the other things to match that criteria for the International Dyslexia Association, okay? The International Dyslexia Association's knowledge and practice standards are what we do have to follow, and that is listed here. So standard 1 addresses the foundational concepts derived from interdisciplinary research about reading development and reading difficulties. Standard 2 covers knowledge of diverse reading profiles, including dyslexia. Standard 3 pertains to knowledge of assessment. So you will be providing assessments. You will be doing assessments on the student that you select for intervention. Standard 4 is address structured literacy teaching, offering detailed guidance with regard to the nature of effective instruction in each major domain, which is phonological sensitivity, phoneme awareness, phonics and word recognition, reading fluency, vocabulary, listening and reading comprehension, and written expression. And Standard 4 offers guidance regarding expectations for teachers engaging in fieldwork or practicum. So this is your practicum. And Standard 5 delineates ethical standards for the profession. So if you want to look at these, this is linked in your syllabus also. So the purpose of our class is so you gain the knowledge and skills towards your intervention, your assessment, prevention, and correction of your reading difficulties. Okay, so that's the purpose. It is a capstone course. So you will be writing a paper based on the assessments that you give at the beginning and what you're going to do for your goals for your intervention. And then again, when you wrap up at the end of the course, you will write another paper on how the intervention's gone and what your goals are for your student to continue, okay? So our required texts are the 2 in bold. It's Archer and Hughes' Explicit Instruction, Effective and Efficient Teaching. And then our burst book, which we use through a lot of our courses. So you should probably already have that one. Oops, didn't mean to click, sorry. And then recommended texts, they're just additional resources, which are good to have if you need additional words or sentences for intervention. And it's Van Cleve's books, which are everything you want to know and exactly where to find it, and phrases and sentences. Are anyone familiar with those? Yeah, I have those in my resource too. They're great books. So they're just optional if you want some additional resources to have. So the course outline looks like this, and I'm sorry I had to reduce it quite a bit to make it fit on the page. But our program starts with key assessments and exams and the ethics around that. And then you prepare for intervention. You also collaborate with your classmates. You do PLCs, which are professional learning communities. So I've already paired you in groups of either 3 or 4 with your classmates, and you meet about 3 or 4 times. I'm trying to remember from last semester. It's either 3 or 4 times. And you meet via Zoom and you discuss on certain topics based on intervention on how you're doing throughout the course. So you'll meet and discuss how your assessments went, and then you'll meet and discuss how your interventions are going, and then you rate on a scale, and then you do a reflection and you turn in your reflection. You also turn in your video of when you meet with your group. So we try not to take a ton of time away from your intervention, but we've also learned that throughout the practicum course that this is a beneficial way for our students to learn with the community of support for their other classmates. So you have that professional learning community. And then of course, the bulk of your practicum are the intervention sessions with your student. So, and then the ongoing assessment and progress monitoring, and then your case study reporting, which are your papers about your student, which is the compiling of data, the analysis, the conclusion, looking to the future, and then you share that information. And so you're probably wondering, where do we keep all of this, right? Where do we keep all of this information? So we put all of that, hold on, I'll talk about that in a minute. We put all of that in a practicum portfolio, and our practicum portfolio is in a Google Drive. So I will actually share those with you. So I've made one for everyone, and they're set up in Google, where there's 3 different folders for you, and you'll see the breakdown of them here. So part 1 is all of your pre-instruction, which are your assessments. And then your write-up containing all of that assessment information. And your background information about your student, so that paper with that write-up. And then your scope and sequence that of whatever program you're going to use. And then part 2 is your lesson plans, any observations that you see, your reflection response to your lessons. So as you go through, you'll turn in certain videos along the way, and you'll get feedback from me. And then you'll do a reflection on your lesson, and you'll put all of that into your part 2. And then part 3 is your post instruction. And all of this is in your syllabus too, so you don't have to take notes. Just wanted to go through it with you. So you're not like, hopefully to have a ton of questions. So it's kind of all laid out for you. I thought I had this in the best order, but I'm realizing now that I do not. So your field experience, which is your intervention, which is your lesson plan information that goes into your portfolio, looks like this. It must be 25 hours. It says 30 here, but we save 5 hours of that for your progress monitoring, your oh, that word just is on the tip of my tongue right there. Oh, Oh, the assessments, the initial assessments that you have to do, but also the post assessments. So the pre-assessments, the post assessments, and the progress monitoring. So there's 5 hours that are set aside of those 30 for you to do all of those assessments. But your intervention has to be at least 25 hours.
Is there a specific way that we're supposed to be keeping track of the hours?
Yes, there is a log sheet.
Okay,
Okay. And that is also in Blackboard.
got it.
Okay. And the minimum amount of time that you must meet is, oh gosh, why do I keep, sorry. My finger is very busy over here. Is once a week. But if you start looking at your calendar, once a week is probably not going to get you 25 hours. So you'll probably want to start looking at how you're going to be able to get those 25 hours. Right? And a minimum amount of time that you can meet with your student is 45 minutes.
So it says 14 weeks of student contact. Does that include assessment and all of that? Or because I was doing the math out in my head and I was like, okay, so like if we meet 2 times a week, like 13 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, and I haven't mapped it out this semester. I'm going to be very honest with you. I have not mapped it out this semester. That's something you're going to have to sit down and map out based on when you start. Right? Because if you don't start until, say, this week or next week, you're just going to have to map it out on your calendar. And then you have to factor in spring break somewhere in there. So
You might be getting to this question in a little bit, but if I started doing my assessments as soon as we got back from Christmas break on my student, and luckily one of my students I can use as my own son, so I was able to start doing it quickly on him. But am I able to start doing the intervention with him as soon as you look over the assessment data, or when is the earliest we're able to start doing the intervention?
did you do the C-top, the tower, the dibbles? I mean, yeah, the C-top.
Yes,
Okay, you did
Dr.
everything that
Thompson. Yeah,
you
Dr. Thompson had sent that
Oh,
email
good,
out.
good,
Yeah, she
good.
sent us out to us for Practicum I and II, everything we needed to do, the requirements.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Then, yeah, you can go ahead and start. So, after we're done with our Zoom, I will open up module 1 and 2. Or do I have it marked as 0 and 1? Maybe 0 and 1. And then you can go ahead and get through 0 and 1. And you can go ahead and start.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the very first module that opens is basically just you introducing yourself. So you know how to work Video Ant and how to upload into Blackboard, because you have to upload all of your videos into Blackboard for me to view them and for me to comment on them. So everything has to go in there. So it's basically just a trial run into Video Ant is you introducing yourself. So it's kind of just a way for you to get used to working through that platform. So. And I don't think the grading scale is very different. Well, I know the grading scale is not different at all because we run on that 7-point scale. But the breakdown for this class, you do have 15-minute sections of videos that you turn in, and those are oh gosh, what do we label those? Partner videos where you and your classmates are giving glows and grows to each other. Okay. And then there's discussion boards. And so this is kind of the breakdown of your final grade. So there's 6 15-minute videos. There's a couple of discussion boards. There's not any flip grids in here. Your final portfolio, which is your entire digital portfolio, is 70% of your grade. And then there's 4 45-minute observations, which I'm the only one that sees those.
So should we record every session that we're doing intervention and just have those uploaded to the video ant, or are there specific times?
There are specific times and you'll see them throughout Blackboard.
Okay, thanks.
Uh-huh. And then the 15-minute videos, it's like the first 15-minute of a lesson or the last 15. It tells you specifically which 15 minutes to upload. It's not always the first 15 minutes of a lesson because we don't want you to consistently see only phonemic awareness being done for each other. Does that make sense? Okay. So the first one is like that phonemic awareness piece, because that's typically what you start with a lesson. But then I think the very last 15-minute video is the last 15 minutes, which would be your oral reading passage. If you follow the same lesson plan flow, and I can pull up the lesson plan that's on Blackboard. Not everyone's lesson plan may look the same. If you follow UFly, if you're not already trained in something, you can use UFly. If you're already trained in something, you can use that. You just need to send it to me and we just need to kind of walk through it because not every program has all of the components. So sometimes we may have to add. Okay. And let me get to the lesson plan because that's where I was going to go next. So our lesson plan requirements. So you all know that they need to be explicit, systematic, cumulative, have a scope and sequence, be teacher directed with a gradual release, and you need to provide immediate corrective feedback with students. Okay. I also threw in that 45 minutes a session, minimum meet time 1 day a week. Okay. So these are the components that need to be in there, but I'll pull up our lesson plan too. They need to have the phonological or phonemic awareness piece in it, visual or auditory drills. A lot of times there's a card deck that you use to review some sort of blending with letter tiles or something. You need to have vocabulary that you're introducing, have a new skill to teach with words to read or words to spell, syllabication with phrases to read and spell, sentences to read and spell, and have a oral reading passage where you have comprehension piece with it and your watching fluency, the pace, accuracy, and expression. So those are the pieces that need to be in there. Let me pull up oops. Let me move this, the lesson plan that we have, which is also on Blackboard, but I will show it to you here. I may have to. to stop sharing and then reshare because it's on a different, it's on a different program. Okay. So this lesson plan template is the Orton Gillingham reading lesson plan template, and it follows the same flow. So it has the components in there. So it starts with the phonemic awareness. It has that drill and review with the card deck, blending board, spelling. And then it has whatever you're going to teach as your new skill. Right. And then for your words to read, spell or write, and words to read. And then it also has your sight words here. So you can introduce high frequency words, heart words, whatever you are calling those. I know for what we use, the program we use here, it's Reading by Design, and they just call them high frequency words. Your syllabication, which is either phrases and sentences, to read and then to write. So the program that I use, we start with words and then we have phrases and sentences, and then we write words, phrases, and sentences. So, and then your oral reading passage, which my students actually have 2 oral reading passages, and then any vocabulary. So for me, I have to actually specifically go into, because my program doesn't have vocabulary that you specifically teach. I have to go in sometimes and highlight what I want to specifically pull out. And sometimes it happens organically because students don't know what a word means. So sometimes it happens organically while we're teaching because they're like, I don't know what that word means. Tell me what that means. So it just happens. But so I have to be very intentional about vocabulary while I'm teaching. But the rest of everything else is in there for me. The one thing that is not on this lesson plan that is in my lesson plan is the alphabet. And I have dictionary skills for my older students, which I love. So, but anyway, but these are the components that have to be in there. So if whatever you are trained in or you already use does not have one of those components. Oh, and there's another thing that actually is not on here that is on the IDA rubric, which is handwriting. That is something that we look for, whether you're teaching as you're working through with your students, if they're struggling with letter formation. We actually watch to see if you're helping them with their handwriting. That is actually on the IDA rubric. Just wanted to mention that. So. Let me switch back over. Okay. So now if you are interested in Siri certification, because you are taking the practicum class, you will qualify to take Siri certification when you are finished. But you do need to go ahead and decide if you would like to do that. You would need to watch, and I will send this out in an email. I'm gonna also post it on Blackboard. But Practicum I and Practicum II students need to decide if they would like to get further certification, and Dr. Thompson has a beautiful YouTube video about it. And then if you do, you need to fill out the Google form within the first week of class and let her know if you plan to do that. And then you fill out the application. Okay, so I will actually post this on Blackboard so you can watch the video, fill out the Google documentation, and then fill out the application to do that. Okay. If you are interested in getting further certification through Siri. And then I also have extra credit that you can go ahead and earn also now. Dr. Thompson is doing a practicum research survey. I will also post this in Blackboard on announcements, but I will share it in the chat today. You will get 5 bonus points for filling that out, but you do need to send me a screenshot. Just email it to me, and then I'll add it to our grades once you've completed it. Okay. And that is all I have. Stephanie, do you have any questions? I believe you had already emailed me.
Yeah, I did. I had a couple questions. For the 4 observations, are those going to be like live observed by you or all video recorded and turned in?
They're all going to be video recorded and sent in just because I do work
Okay.
full time. Yeah.
Timing was, I did Practicum II last year and timing was very, very challenging to
I know. Yeah,
do them
it's
all
almost
live.
impossible with me working because I get to work at like 7:45 and I get home around 4, and then well, really about 4:30 because my son gets off the bus at 4:30. So it's hard. It's really hard. So the easiest way for me to do it last semester was for everyone just to submit video and then I was able, because each one of them really are about an hour by the time, they greet the student and get through that oral reading and, kind of everything else. So I was able to watch and comment and give them all of the feedback that way. It was almost easier, I think.
Okay.
For y'all to
And
upload
then the 45-minute interventions, if needed, can we split some of those into like 2 different, like, do part of it one day, the rest of it the next day, or do they all have to be beginning to end one session?
What do you mean? Like shorter than 45 minutes?
No, like if I have my 45-minute lesson plan, but I don't have time to do that all in one day, can I do the beginning part on Monday and the rest of it on Tuesday?
Oh, absolutely.
And then another
if you don't get
lesson,
through the whole lesson.
one on Wednesday and then Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. And then for UFly, is that because I don't use UFly and I haven't been trained, but some of the people on my campus do have it and use it, and I could probably get access to the program.
You can use UFly for this if you would
Does
like.
it have everything? Like if I use UFly the way that it's scripted, would it meet all of the components?
UFly meets all of the components. The only thing that you have to kind of add in is a little bit like to instruct on handwriting.
Vocabulary. Okay.
And vocabulary.
Yeah.
Vocabulary you have to be mindful to pull a vocabulary word out of their decodable stories. And those are on their online. You just have to print them off.
So I know I had emailed you and I was looking at Sound Partners because I did get some training in that, and that's what we're using for our tier 2 interventions, but it's not really my favorite. So
And
I'm
it
not
looks
really
good, but
sold yet.
it's not complete. Like you would have to add some to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look
Okay.
bad. You would just have to add, you might have to add a little bit to it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let you decide. I did have students last semester use UFly. And it has pretty much everything you need in it. You just have to be mindful to read through the stories and decide what you're going to pull out for vocabulary. And then whatever they're teaching for, like if they're doing, I don't know where your student would start, but I had a student last semester that they almost like were on the cusp of like almost starting at the beginning, like kind of still single letters. And so she was instructing her student on proper letter formation when they were doing the phoneme, the letter sound correspondence, basically. So that's how she snuck in that handwriting piece. So
About vocabulary. So I know vocabulary in the decodables and like what would be working on with the student is probably very limited. Would it be appropriate to maybe do vocabulary words that might help us to like discuss the text that they're reading? Like compassionate, like this character is being very compassionate, when they said,
you
I have a
can,
pal, or
and it depends on again where your student falls, but one way that and again this student was using UFly that she pulled out a word and then they used synonyms to teach that vocabulary. So she taught the vocabulary word, they talked about the definition, and then she taught synonyms for that vocabulary word.
Okay.
So that was another great way to get her student to learn additional vocabulary words with the one word that she pulled out of the decodable. Like it was really, I was like, that is brilliant. Because it's a decodable, so of course you're very limited, right?
Right.
And they're not going to be they're not going to be the biggest words in the world. They're just not. Um, so it was like the most brilliant way for her to expand this child's knowledge with a very limited decodable story. So she did a really good job of pulling out one word and really expanding on this child's knowledge. So there's lots of ways to do it. You just have to be creative really with your choice of words that you're pulling out and try to expand that child's knowledge. So, and I'm here to help. I've seen some amazing things. I mean, I was like, that is the most brilliant thing. I'm writing it down and now I'm sharing it. So I was fascinated with what she did. She did a really good job with it. So anyone else have questions?
I have a comment about UFly and a question about it.
Okay.
So with like handwriting, I think the alphabet lessons have like a handwriting component or a letter formation component. And so even if you're not using the alphabet lessons, you can like copy and paste those slides into your
Okay.
into the other slides, or use those slides. Because and then they even have a spot for practicing letter formation in later lessons without, it doesn't have the like guide with it, but it has a spot where it's like, okay, we are still working on writing the letter Q, so let's practice that today or whatever.
Okay.
And then my question was about the syllabication part on the lesson plan.
Uh-huh.
So since we're working with like elementary kids, what is there a place like, is syllabication specifically multisyllabic words? because I imagine there might be a threshold where they're not ready for that.
Okay, well, I say yes and no.
Okay.
Because even think about kindergarten.
Right.
You can even start in kindergarten teaching them morphology because you can teach them plural S because they have cats and dogs and rats, right? You can teach them to use that plural S. So you can already introduce morphology in kindergarten because they know S, they can write an S,
Mhm.
they can spell cats.
Right.
So I I just think at some point that that they're already seeing and hearing some of those things, and they might even be able to see falling and
Mhm.
spell falling, right? And even
Yeah.
in first grade, they can see it, read it, and spell it,
Mhm.
depending on how bad they're struggling.
Yeah.
So, um, I wouldn't say they're not ready for it. Um, I say that to challenge yourself
Yeah.
to put it in there because even the compound words like suntan, those are two closed syllable words,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And rabbit is two closed syllables put together. So those are two very simple closed syllable put together. So I don't think there's a point where it's too early for them to have multisyllabic words. Two closed syllables together, a child that's still in closed syllables can do a multisyllabic word.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else?
The link did not work when I clicked on it, just by the way, to
Oh, which one?
Dr. Thompson's study.
Oh, I got it directly from her email earlier.
I clicked on it and I copy pasted it and it didn't work.
Okay,
I think
hold on.
that one said it didn't work for her.
Maybe I didn't get the whole thing out of the email. Let me go back to the email.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that extra credit right away.
I know. Okay, hold on.
Also, on the other one that you sent, it has 2 spots for email on the form to fill out, just so you know.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm sorry.
Google Forms are so great, except for sometimes they're not. As all technology, it's so useful until it turns on you.
Until it's not. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, hold on.
Do you have the parent consent form also somewhere for us to get to the parents?
Yes, it is on the black. Hold on a second. I'll open Blackboard for you too.
Oh, that's fine.
Let me get this. Oh, you know what? It added something random on the end of this survey. Hold on. That's probably why.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. Hold on. Let me copy the link. Let me put it in the chat real quick. Oh no, maybe it didn't. I don't know. Here, try that. It looks like the same thing to me. But...
Yeah, it just says not found.
What? It does to me too. Okay, I'll email her. That's so weird. I don't know. I'll email her in a minute. I promise I'll get you the right link.
Yeah, that's
I usually check those before I send them out, but she just sent it to me earlier today. That's so weird. She's gonna be like, I'm so sorry. It's fine. She'll get it to me. Okay.
This is why I like just teaching 2nd grade, because when I make little mistakes like that,
They're like little mistakes, right? It's totally fine. Okay. Let's see. Are y'all all in the same class? I don't know. Let me find out real quick.
I'm in the 3590 whatever. This is the 341 that you just clicked on. I'm in the other one.
Yeah, of course. Stephanie, which one are you in?
I don't know. I was gonna ask, what's our what's our you said to say what's your
Fabulous.
section number. What is our
I
how
don't
do we
know.
know our
Hold on.
section number?
Hold please. You're in this one.
Which is
Okay, so when you go to Blackboard and you open up the classroom, here is the video consent form.
Thank you. I hadn't gotten far enough.
No, oh no, you are
Marked
completely
very
fine.
clearly. Thanks.
You're fine. And I'll open up module 0. I haven't opened it yet. And I'll open module 1. I haven't opened any of them yet. I've been busy doing other things. I've been busy making my slideshow. I will open those when we're done. And oh, here, I'll show you this. So I have put due dates on everything for you. And they should be on all of the modules. So to help guide you through. If you need to turn something in late, just reach out to me. There is a Google form. I did find that sometimes it's easier just to let me know. But there is a Google form you can fill out if it's going to be over a week late. It's the late submission request form. Just fill out the Google form and let me know when you're going to turn it in late. It's here. Okay. So just let me know. Because that's like if something happens wonky, if a kid gets sick, if something catastrophic happens and it's going to be really, really late, let me know. If it's like a day or two late, just email me. I'm very understanding. I've been there. I got my master's a few years ago. I've been there and I worked at the same time. So I've totally been there. What else do I need to show you? I feel like I think I've gotten it all. I will let you know office hours as soon as I get responses. Because I really want to set them where it's a good time for y'all. What else? I think that's it. This class is pretty straightforward. And I usually open the next module like the day before the other one closes so you can see it. Like, I don't want to open too much for you because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. Just make sure you're meeting with your kids. And if it gets to be where you haven't done something, I'll put an announcement out and just a little friendly reminder. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
What was I gonna say? Oh, what is there a time when we're like, okay, we need to have it done by, like, you need to wrap up 2 weeks before class is over because we're doing X, Y, and Z. Sorry, I had to go step
Oh,
out.
no. So your final assessments, like your end of the semester assessments and your final portfolio, like it will actually guide you through for your final, and you
Mhm.
get to type in for your summative rubric. You get to actually type in the submission. You get to say done or ready. You get to tell me when you're ready for me to put your summative in. And then I actually do all of that. So when you're ready for that, you actually submit it. And then I know you're pretty much ready. And then once you know that everything's in your portfolio for your final, I think you do the same thing and you just put done. And so I know to go into your portfolio and grade everything and then put your grade in. So you
Awesome.
kind of just let me know when you know that everything's in there and ready. So I have access to your portfolio and so do you along the way. So
Okay. Well, I'm gonna take all of the time for the test kind of gal, so I'll be seeing you on April 30th, it says on the screen.
and that's fine. And it's not a test. It's just making sure everything's in your portfolio. So it's just writing up everything and yeah, you should be good. But
Yeah.
again, if you have questions, let me know. I'm here to help y'all. Okay. I'm here to help and guide. And if you have questions along the way, it's what I'm here for.
Did I see somewhere that there is a form that we have to fill out before we start our interventions? Like you have to approve the student? I don't know if I seen it in the syllabus or your announcements, but I thought
might
there
be.
was a form.
It might be in this one. I think there was actually. It's maybe about your program and your, yes.
Okay.
It's this one, maybe. Google form to complete about your student and your observations. Oh, please. That one?
Yeah, I hadn't
Yes.
seen it yet, but I thought it was mentioned somewhere.
It might have been.
It says on your Blackboard item is hidden from students.
I know, I just saw that. I think because this whole thing is,
Module 1 or module 0.
yeah, I think the whole thing is. Yeah, and I need to open the whole thing up anyway.
So we have to submit that to you before we can start our interventions, correct?
Yes, and this is in module 0, which is due by the Tuesday, the 16th.
We
So
don't have to
the earlier
record-
you get it in, the earlier you start. But you have to do your assessments first. Right? And
We
if
don't
you
have to
need
record our
access to those, let
assessments.
me know.
Do we have to record our assessments?
Mm-mm,
No, okay.
nope. You do not. Okay. Yeah, this module I need to open up for you.
I have a question. Sorry, this is one
No,
of those
gosh, you're fine.
like it's like one of those meetings where someone's like, "Oh wait, I have a question," right at the end.
You're completely fine.
I was reading the form when I was on the screen and it said before school, after school. Do you like see I just wonder the merit of before school versus after school intervention. I know there are kids at my school who do before school intervention. I hadn't considered it. I'm a sleep until the last minute possible kind of person.
I
But
think it depends on what time your school starts. Like,
yeah, we start at 7:45, so
yeah,
that's pretty early.
I agree with you. I know, like, where we moved from, middle school for us got moved back to, I'm gonna shock you, to 10 a.m. Oh, I know. So, before school would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been the best time.
I know. Like, we almost had a heart attack when they moved it to 10 a.m.
Did that I know like middle schoolers they say and high schoolers are
Oh,
that's
but
their
high
time.
school started at 7:30, but middle school started at 10. I know. So
So mean.
I know. So that's why I said I'm gonna shock you. So it depends on what time your school starts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we get done at 2:45, so after school is what I was thinking.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Teachers have to be there at
Where do
7:15.
you live?
Like Arkansas. I teach at a Catholic school.
Okay, but that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a great schedule. Like when people are like, "Oh, but teachers get done at 3," it's kind of true in my situation. I did come home and take a 3-hour nap after school today because I'm getting sick. So,
That's amazing.
but
Oh my
okay.
heavens. Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Because I was like, gosh, that's so early, but of course, not everybody starts at 7:45.
Everybody does. Nor did they get out at 2:45.
No, yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Rebecca, on that note, just food for thought. I work at a school where we start at 8, but we are required to do tutoring 2 days a week, and we do it in the mornings before school. And I work with kindergartners and first graders, and it seems they actually do better in the mornings than the afternoon.
Well, and that's my thought is because I've tutored kids, like I tutored a first grader several years, he didn't really need it, but his mom was freaked out after COVID, and he after school was so tired. But then I'm already doing a 6th grader right now, after school, and he's fine. So we'll just see.
And
But
it depends on the age too. Like, I mean,
yeah. So like
honestly,
I'm doing a 2nd grader in my class too. So I'm hoping to do some like middle of the day stuff if possible.
right.
But no, that's what kind of what I was thinking, because I know like younger kids, morning is their time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I find that my kids are like more refreshed and ready to go with me in the morning than the afternoon.
Yeah.
Because they're little. I mean, they're just
They've already
exhausted.
been up for hours at this point, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
Thank you, Shanda. Shanda. How do you say your name?
Shanda.
Shanda. Okay.
I know. Anything else I can answer?
If I put afternoon, but then I change it to morning, the kid that I'm gonna tutor to, his mom just had a baby, so I'm really flying by those.
I'm flexible. I mean, if it changes, it's not,
Okay.
I'm not worried about it if it changes.
Okay.
So, yeah. I mean, because sometimes you may start at one time and that might not work for that family either. So, I mean, you have to also work with do what's best for the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Well, that's it. If you'll fill out the office hours form and the other ones, I will get everything else posted and I will get the correct link from Dr. Thompson. So y'all can have your extra credit because I know that's important. And there will be other opportunities throughout the semester. There were last semester too, and I'll share those with you. So be on the lookout.
You.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Bye. Y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Bye.